would say go ahead and get going.
All right, Commissioner Breitling, I don't know if you want to start this off or just have Brielle move into taking the role.
I think we should just take the role to start with.
Okay, Mr. Peterson,
I'm here.
Mr. Pollock,
Here.
Mr. Breitling,
Here.
Mrs. Sherman,
I'm here.
Mr. Steen, Mr. Benson,
Here.
Mr. Lavig,
Here.
Mr. Heil,
Here.
Mr. Stewart,
Here.
Mr. Munson.
Here.
All right. Well, Commissioner Breitling, I can start off with the opening item on the agenda with our 2020 construction report.
Please do so.
All right. So I'm showing it up on the screen for those that aren't able to view it on a computer. We'll just go to the slide with the 2020 projects, and all in all, we had a very successful year. I'd like to thank all the hard work of our county employees, whether our engineering staff that were managing and the construction projects and did all the design work and permitting for these projects, as well as our maintenance staff and operations staff that got out and did a lot of hard work installing box culverts and doing a section of ditch reconstruction. So we were able to get that stretch of Highway 10 from Castleton over to Mapleton completed, and it's pretty much 100% wrapped up. So which was great to be able to finish a major project like that in one construction season and not have, a few added items kind of hanging out there for next year. We were able to get all the seating and everything complete. So, and then being able to tie that one into the east end of where the school area is in town with some of the in-town work. Probably one of the more comprehensive projects that we've ever designed. Looking at our bridge projects, we were able to complete a wide number of projects. Two of them that didn't were immediately two green triangles immediately east of or west of Harwood. Those were tied to a water resource district project, and unfortunately that didn't happen. We're still waiting to see if that funding will be available for 2021. But the east of Harwood on County Road 31, that project just north of Cass 22 was able to get completed, and it was just recently opened up a few weeks ago. So that was a project that we had some issues with the old structure for a number of years, and we worked with the Water Resource District to collaboratively get that done. The only project that we still have outstanding is up on Highway 2 in the stretch in purple by Hunter going west. That one we were able to get all the cement treated subgrade and all of that work done earlier in the fall and kind of late summer time frame. It was just trying to get some of the additional dirt work complete, but with the dry fall, we're wrapping that up, and that's turning out to be a really good project. So all in all, really good year. And then I guess going into the one, we've got the slides of the Cass 10 project to kind of show some of the work that we did there, curb and gutter and the shared use path that connects some newer development over to a new church and the high school and middle school area. So it's a great addition and ties in with the existing infrastructure that was and shared use paths that had been done in previous years. In 2020, we were also able to get our parking lot at the highway department repaved, so that worked out really well. And I think that it was a quick project, and we were able to get a really good price on the asphalt for that. So thanks again for approving that earlier this fall. And then that Wheatland safety project, that ended up getting delayed because of some right-of-way issues, so that'll be going on in 2021. But we were able to complete some critical pieces. One, this moving this old home that was really close to the right-of-way and was going to need to get have some substantial mitigation done to it if we didn't buy it out. So it was great that we were able to do that. And then we were able to work with the railroad and get a contractor in to jack a new pipe underneath the railroad tracks. And I'm still not sure how we did it, but usually working with the railroad takes years, not months. But we were able to get this through, and that will help substantially with some drainage issues on the north side of the railroad tracks along that radial T project along Cass 5 and 10. With that, that's the report for our 2020 project. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The box culvert replacement a mile west of my place on the lower branch. Did I hear you say it might get done next year due to funding or something, or because that bridge is not getting any better?
Yes, and so actually, I'm gonna when we go to the 2021 projects, I'll turn it over to Tom. He was going to talk those, and I'll let him answer that here. So,
but it's definitely not going to that bridge is not going to be replaced this year. No way.
Not this fall. Still,
okay.
No. Yep. All right. Any other
Tom,
questions?
do you want to take over for the 2021 proposed construction projects?
Yeah, I sure can.
Please do so.
Okay. Well, 2021 projects we have scheduled. We got a bunch of box culverts. I guess I'll start with those two just west of Keith's place there. So that east one there, that is definitely in rough shape there. And if I remember correct, I think Mr. Hale there, I believe that's coming up again on the State Water Commission here. They're a subcommittee. I think they're addressing that project, I believe, here. So we'll see how that comes to fruition.
Actually, Tom, I've got a set of talking points from Moore Engineering, and I had intended to, once I have a look at them, forward them to Commissioner Breitling. We're going to have to go to the legislature to get them to change the thinking at the State Water Commission. They're trying to prevent working on anything like bridges on water projects or pretty much anything else on a drainage project. They're trying to transfer money only for water supply.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's definitely unfortunate. So hopefully you guys will be successful there, I guess. But yeah, it's they're saying you can't use like maintenance dollars basically to replace some
pretty
of these
much.
things.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they tabled it. They tabled the issue, boy, since May. I think at least 4 times, maybe 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then they finally the flavor that we've got, and they're working on a change to state law and not letting anybody see the change to state law until it comes out of the working group that's working on it.
Mm-hmm.
So what it's going to take, I think, Commissioner Breitling, is us getting together with Cass County legislators and saying this is unworkable. If we have the State Water Commission claiming that a bridge over top of an assessment drain doesn't need any State Water Commission funding because the bridge was going to get replaced anyway. Well, the bridge is only there because the assessment drain's there. That's
Mm-hmm.
why there was some State Water Commission cost share on replacing those bridges.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry to hijack the meeting there, but no, this thing is they may talk about it in December, but I have no expectation that it's going to be a positive if they do talk about it.
Mhm. Thank you, Mr. Hale. I appreciate that. Yeah, appreciate those comments. So,
Yep.
I guess, kind of moving on with our 2021 projects, we go up, kind of up to Gardner, northeast of Gardner, there's 4 box culverts that, all those we're looking at as, county forces. They're all in legal drains. Looking at replacing, all those bridges with, concrete box culverts. So, I guess, and then kind of moving back south again, kind of maybe just northwest of, West Fargo and Raymond Township on Drain 14, there's a yellow triangle there. There's a bridge in there now, and we're actually looking at, that would be a contractor install that, box culvert. And that's one we want to, that's a bridge that's, not in the greatest shape now, and, you know, given can see the ghost image of the diversion there. And there probably going to be a lot of traffic going over that structure. So that'd be good to get that bridge replaced with a box culvert. And that one actually is sized. It's one of those where, it's a double box, but actually one could come out. I guess we'll have to cross that box culvert more or less when that time comes. I guess if we look at it that way, whether we want to keep the 2 in there or if it's worth taking the one out again. I mean, and that's the same with the 2 west of Harwood. Both those structures, all 3 of those, I should say, are structures that can be reduced in size once the diversion is in place. And then kind of going south and west, there's some yellow triangles, kind of just southeast of Castleton down that Durbin area. I guess the ones that are closer to I-94, there's one underneath County Road 9 and another one south and west of there. Those were 2020 projects that just worked out in the best interest for us to move those to 2021, kind of do them at that time period, I guess. And then south and west of that is the Maple River Water Resource District. There's 2 more yellow triangles there. They completed a box culvert on County Road 9, kind of just east, right where that arrow is. Yeah, they replaced one there this past. Actually, they did it in the fall of 2019. JEB Construction, and they actually did a pretty good job dealing with all the water them guys had to deal with. They were able to put that that box culvert in with all that water, and so that structure got put in, and they put the asphalt over this year on County Road 9, and then but now there was some funding available left over from that first project, and now the Water Resource District is working on getting the additional right-of-way needed to do those 2 more box culverts south and west, right kind of where those arrow is at right now. So those are all good projects. That those structures are all they're kind of pretty much at the end of their life, and to get a box culvert in there would be good. So that's kind of the box culverts that we have. If you kind of moving on, where you kind of go down in the Maple River Township, just west of State Highway 18, 1 mile. You kind of go around the curves of State Highway 18. There's 1 mile west of there. And actually, in 1997, we had put that bridge in there, and we're having a lot of soils issues. And we looked at options whether we should put a bridge in there, or we should put a possible box culvert, low water crossing. We ended up deciding going with a low water crossing. If you put the bridge in there, there's a chance you might end up right where you are again, because there's the south abutment and the south pier have rotation issues where there's so much dirt that's moving there and sliding that abutment and pier not plumb anymore, and it's the only way to fix that really is to put a concrete box culvert in there. Actually, it's going to be 4 10 by 14 box culverts. They'll be kind of staggered, and basically you put that big block in there, and that'll keep we feel that in the soils, Geotech has told us that has a better chance of surviving than if you put a bridge in there. So, and the time when, it's a low water crossing, but that actually, the water wouldn't necessarily go over that until it goes over the spillway of the Maple River Dam, because this is on the Maple. So it won't, it's not like a low water crossing that would typically be, out of service or out of use, during, certain high water events. This one, for the most part, at least for the growing season for sure, and there'll possibly be times in, in spring where, when it does go over that spillway of the Maple, that would go under, so. And then there's another bridge kind of out in Clifton Township. That one's also on the Maple. That one, I know that the township out there have been fighting that east side of that bridge for quite a few years. That one, the east 50 feet always gets washed out, and the township is, ends up spending a lot of money. We've helped them a little bit there too, just with how many times that thing is washed out. But it's really this will be a kind of a win-win there to get a better bridge in there, and then also help the township out so they won't have to deal with replacing that road on the east side of that bridge every time there's some high water that comes through. And the last bridge that we kind of have is actually, if you go on County Road 81 or University, you go down to 88th Avenue South on Fargo, and you go west like not even a quarter mile. There's just a couple hundred feet actually off 81. There's a bridge down there, and it serves one owner there. And we're still working with FEMA to possibly buy the person out that's on the west side there. If that happens, we'd like to remove that bridge, and also then get that property bought out, and that'll definitely be another win-win there for both parties, I guess. It's the bridge is really in rough shape. The east side is rotated, and actually it's actually closed right now. You can't even really drive over the thing. It's a wooden structure that's really has a lot of issues. So I'll pause here, I guess, if there's any questions, I guess, on these structures, I guess.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, then I'll keep moving on, I guess, for our dirt projects for next year. So with our Wheatland project, the Radial T project, so that we have scheduled to be, it's going to be bid in February. So basically the plans are all done, and we have all the right of way now, and then Jason alluded to earlier there, the preliminary home demo, and then the culvert is put in, and then there'll be a Radial T at both those curves in Wheatland. So, and that's got federal fund. There's some grant money in there, so that'll be a good project to fix up those curves, and it'll be graded and then also paved the same year. So there wouldn't be like a 2-year type project to be all done in 1 year.
Tom, because of the fact that federal funds were involved, it's my understanding that we had to follow the federal guidelines for property acquisition. And that's what part of the timeline delay was all about, in order to get appraisals and negotiate with the property owner as to an appropriate price for the land involved. I think that's important for the rest of the commissioners to be mindful of.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you, Commissioner Brightling. That there's a certain timeline you have to meet, and if we had to move it down another month or so, then you end up bidding the thing in June or July, and then it's like, and then you really squeeze down your window to get it constructed. So to get a good quality product, we were better off to just to move it to 2021. So thank you for those comments.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, so our grading projects for next year, so the County 17 and County 6 down there by the new middle school, and they're working on the high school there for West Fargo now. So we're going to build 2 miles, well, not quite 2 miles going to the east. We'll start from where we left off, where the concrete is there by the school, and go over to 45th Street, and then turn and go north. And we'll stay just shy of 64th Avenue, because the city of Fargo is going to have their project is also going to go from 52nd Avenue down to 64th. and they'll build the intersection of 64th. And I know they got some, then also last Friday, in fact, they bid the I-29 overpass. I didn't see who got that, I know, but that was a big project that the DOT bid there. So that's all, so there's a lot of work happening down in that southeast corner there. So, and lastly, I guess, our paving projects. So our County 10, going from Castleton, over to County 11, just north of Mapleton. So that like Jason said, that project went well, and we last thing we need to do there now is we got to put another layer of asphalt on top and get the shoulders paved, and then we're going to pull the dirt up. There's kind of a little bubble of dirt on the inslope now, and we get it all paved. We're going to bring that up against the pavement, and so that once that's done, then our County 10 project is done. But kind of what happened was we sent in to the DOT every year. They always ask us what we have for federal projects. They always ask us, for bridges and road projects, and then then we had our safety project in Wheatland, but we didn't have any paving projects using any federal money. And they said, well, we got some money to spend here next year. Do you guys have any other projects that you would possibly like to move up? And the only reason we didn't ask before is because we were currently in the hole about $500,000 or more with our funding for federal money. But the DOT they said, well, we can probably borrow ahead a few years. So basically we got about $3.7 million for paving projects. And what we did there is we took the County Road 10, because we were going to do that with local funds, and that was about $2.8 million to pave that. So we took that local fund money and we said, okay, what other roads can we do? And we looked at our 5-year plan, which is a great tool to have. So we said, the next roads we want to pave is that County Road 11 from 22 going up to County 4. That segment in there, and that has, the last time we were there was 1998. So that's a project that needs to get done. So we actually looked at, so DOT told us we could pave that County Road 11 and County Road 10 using federal funds with our matching 20%. And then we still had about $1.8 million left over. So the next two projects to do were County Road 5, starting from Erie, or County Road 34 up to 26, and then from County 26 up to the Traill County line. And those projects were both done in 2001, so they're coming to fruition also here. So those will be county projects. So that enabled us to still have enough money left over for to do those two projects as county projects. So they'll be bid separately from the County 10 and County 11 projects. So that was kind of that was really good for Cass County to be able to get that advance money. And so we have a good relationship with the DOT in Bismarck, and we've been able to move some of these projects ahead. And like we always told them, we never want to take anybody else's money, but if they're looking for a project, and we definitely have we definitely have more miles of road and that need to get paved and that it needs to get fixed up, I guess. So then most time you have enough money to fix them. So that worked out really good, the DOT to help us out with that. So I'll pause here again to get any further questions on any of this stuff, I guess. So.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks, Tom. Yeah, next we'll hit on the 5-year highway plan and projects that will require some coordination with the FM diversion project. So I'm going to talk first highway, and then the second slide will be the bridges. But we've had some big news in the last month with the FM diversion project coming to a legal settlement with the upstream opposition groups. And what that's really allowed us to look at on the technical side is putting a better mark on the calendar for when the diversion project should be operational and construction complete, and then how that will impact roads that we've templated. There's a number of roads that we know are coming up because of just certain maintenance measurements that we use, like with our asphalt pavements, typically about 15 to 20 years after an overlay, we want to come back and overlay them again. And so we had projected those out, but of course it was always one of those, as things have over the last several years have kind of drug out with the diversion, not exactly knowing when some of these components would be done. We didn't want to just keep delaying our road projects, so we did put them on in the 5-year plan. About 2 weeks ago, we sat down with some of the diversion technical folks, Chris Bakigard, the new engineering director for the diversion project, as well as several of the engineering staff from the Houston Moore Group that are working on things like the I-29 grade raise and some of the work around that, including the levee around Oxbow and some of the other core-led construction components south of Horace for the southern embankment. And so what we recognized was, up north with our County Road 81 projected project in 2025, and then some of this work down in the southeast corner of the county on County Road 17, County Roads 14, 21, and then 81. We want to make sure that we're doing that work down there smartly, and that we're using the taxpayers' money most efficiently and effectively, and that we're not just out there sticking to a calendar date purely for the fact that it's on the plan, and then overlay a stretch of road that a year later or 2 years later is going to get torn up by the diversion project. So I think the key takeaway is we know on the north end we are going to have to tie into to the work that's going to be going on Highway 81, where the diversion will cross between Argusville and Harwood. So and that stretch of 81 will end up taking a lot of construction traffic. So waiting and looking at delaying that project until the work on 81 north of Harwood for the diversion is complete. Again, so that we're not doing our construction on top of other construction with the diversion. And down south, a number of the work efforts on County Road 17 we'll be able to continue to do in County Road 14. This last, the southern part of County Road 17, close to County 16, this segment of paving on County Road 21, and then the paving work on County Road 81 and 18. We'll look to probably delay those until after the work along I-29 and then County Road 18. With the diversion project with I-29 grade raise, that interchange at Cass 18 is also going to have to get reconstructed, along with the road 18 going further east, and then 81 as it connects to 18 and goes up and over the Oxbow levee. So we're working on that, and right now my thought is that we'll move forward with the plan as it currently is laid out, knowing that some of these are going to change, and then between now and next summer we'll probably we'll look to revamp some of the timeline on some of these projects and move some of those projected expenditures around to accommodate, you know, some different projects. And so next year at this time, these projects are going to look a little bit different, again, based on where we're at with the diversion. And with the diversion, you know, we're in the process of selecting the private-public partnership team that will construct the diversion channel from south of Horace all the way around West Fargo and Harwood to the outlet. So next summer, that team should be on board, and we should start to have a little better picture for their construction timeline. And we anticipate that, you know, a number of the bridges and work that they're going to do, they'll get started. You know, some work next fall, but 2022 they'll be going full bore. And then on our bridges, we're fortunate that we've been able to complete a lot of construction on our bridges in and around the metro area. So we don't really have any significant bridge work that's going to end up being delayed. We are continuing to coordinate with the Diversion Authority and the Water Resource District on this bridge crossing on County Road 15 just south of I-94 on Drain 14, because that Drain 14 currently goes underneath I-94. Now with the diversion project, it will continue to go basically straight east and drain into the diversion. So we're making sure that our design for that bridge is going to be compatible with those changes. But just wanted to give an update to everybody about, you know, where we see the future of some of these projects, and to make sure everybody's aware that next year some of these projects will end up getting moved and shifted into future years based on those diversion related projects. And for the most part, asphalt overlays, you know, delaying them an extra year or two. Our roads are still in good shape. They're not risking falling apart. The key with that is that we don't want to delay it another, you know, 5-10 years. Again, best practices for asphalt is that you do a maintenance overlay somewhere in that 10 to 15 year period, so that you catch any major stress and decline in your pavement quality by adding that extra layer of asphalt before it becomes a substantial problem that turns into a total reconstruction. So, you know, that's where we try to put that, you know, a couple $100,000 a mile in an asphalt overlay every about 18 years, instead of, you know, waiting 30 years and then having to do a $1.5 million reconstruction. Any questions on that?
Yeah, Jason?
Yes, Commissioner.
What about, are there any impacts with any of the core work that's being done? You know, we had to do some work on 17 after all those complaints, you know, by the inlet structure. Now we got the wild rice control structure going. So do you see any problems going forward there?
Commissioner Schilling, there will still be some continued issues. So at the County Road 17 and County Road 16 intersection where the diversion inlet's going in, we're working with the Diversion Authority to maintain that north-south, that current kind of improved curve that we put in around the inlet. And the Corps will continue to construct their inlet. And then when the P3 starts, that's one of their first milestones, is to construct the bridge over the channel west of our County Road 17 curve. And then once all of that bridge is in, and then the other connection work for 16 and 17 is in, then the last thing that will get removed is that current curve section of County 17. So there will be some period where that intersection is going to have some challenges with detours and pilot cars and those types of things, because the diversion does have to build the southern embankment across County Road 16 just west of of County 17. So it's going to be a process, but I don't see that we're going to have it shut down for more than, you know, a month or two during the kind of the height of the construction process down there. We will have to look at County Road 16 and having that shut down just south of St. Benedict's by where CAS 21 is, as that's the diversion embankment will cross County Road 16 as it goes down towards the Wild Rice structure. And that crossing, our County Road 16 is going to have a grade raise to go up and over that embankment. And then even more substantial is that on the west side of the embankment is a local drainage ditch to bring that water from the staging area that's north of County Road 16 and west of St. Benedict. That water, as it drains out, will drain through this drainage ditch that runs on the west side of the diversion channel back to the Wild Rice. But where it crosses County Road 16, it's a fairly wide channel, about 75 feet wide. So we're going to have to actually go up and over the embankment and then directly into a bridge to cross that channel. So that is going to have some substantial work. And then where the diversion is embankment is shown crossing County Road 81 and then going across the Red River into Minnesota, that's another embankment where that will go up and over. That area won't have as large of a local drainage ditch running along the south side of the diversion channel, but that'll also have some drainage structure that'll have to cross as well. So those are projects that that's the 81 project will be one of the last projects constructed, because the last part of the diversion embankment, and actually of the whole diversion project, is going to be connecting the embankment between I-29 and the Red River structure. And so that would be probably about the 2027 timeframe.
Jason?
Yes.
I was going to mention before the commissioner asked her question, might be helpful to put the track of the diversion on this map and also show the inundation area with hash marks. And then I would imagine as construction gets going, start having a section of this committee's meetings focus on all the things that are happening just in that area.
The blue shaded area is the diversion project with the channel from County Road 17 going around West Fargo and Harwood. And then from by our County Road 36, there's a part of the southern embankment that runs from County Road 36 up to the inlet structure at the intersection of County 16 and 17. And then as part of Plan B is this new embankment alignment that goes north towards County Road 14, and then it stays about a quarter mile south of County Road 14, and then wraps just to the west side of St. Benedict's and connects into the Wild Rice, where there's a gated control structure. And then the embankment crosses the I-29, and then there's a gated Red River structure, and then that continues into Minnesota and then kind of parallels State Highway 75 in Minnesota.
Right.
But that I'll definitely continue to update as by far compared to any other agency, the Highway Department has the most impacts with the diversion project. And of course, we have all the different bridges at 31 and 4, 32, 22, 20, 10. We've got changes on County Road 8 with the diversion project, and in 6 and 14. So there's a lot of transportation related issues. So
yeah.
Thanks for your comments.
But mainly show the inundation area, because that'll help highlight why we're doing road work south of Fargo.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none.
I have one.
Go ahead, Ken.
So, earlier, a few weeks ago, we had two very serious crashes at the intersection of Cass 17 and Cass 22, or Cass 20 rather, between Harwood and West Fargo. And I know that you have changed the lighting on the stop sign, but there was lighting there before. And it would seem that corner really needs something more, and I'm thinking that it's probably a roundabout, but I don't see anything at all in the 5-year plan that speaks to that, and it's an important issue that I hope we don't just let slide until we have another fatal accident there, because we will.
Yeah, Commissioner Pollack, with that, and I know we've chatted a little bit on that as well. We have gone through in the last month and done a few different updates. The stop rumble strips as you approach the stop sign, we have kind of reground those to make them a little bit rougher so that they're more noticeable. And then we have added new larger stop signs that have the actual LED flashing around the edge of the stop signs. And so we've made some improvements there. Over the last 6 months through MetroCog, we've been looking at this Northwest Transportation Study, and MetroCog's looking at either the first or second commission meeting in December to bring that study to the county commission and provide an update. But one of the items that they identified, and that transportation study basically goes from 12th Avenue up to County Road 20, and from the diversion alignment on the west side all the way over to the I-29 and just east of I-29. And they did identify that along that County Road 20 corridor, the most likely intersection type would be to add roundabouts at County Road 17 and 20, as well as the potential at which it would be the extension of 9th Street or Veterans Boulevard in West Fargo as that goes up, and then 45th Street. One of the challenges, and I think we fortunately we haven't had a long history of severe accidents where we're not seeing every couple months or every even 1 or 2 a year. It's been a number of years, but of course having 2 back-to-back definitely heightens our awareness and looking at what safety changes. But I think from a roundabout standpoint, one of the biggest challenges is that water overtops that whole intersection, and so how best to address that, and we know it's going to be 4 or 5 years before the diversion is down to the Maple River, and alleviating some of the flood issues with that, of how we might be able to construct that prior to and maintain the floodplain challenges with not holding back water by raising up the road in a roundabout, or by allowing more water to come over it by, if we end up lowering the road some. So it's a very challenging location there.
Jason, as an additional add-on, we received, or you and I received, letters from the city staff at Riley's Acres requesting a reduction in speed from 29 on County 20. Could you review that with the members here today too?
Yes, thanks, Commissioner. So previously at County Road 20 and I-29, it was 40 miles an hour going up and over the interstate until you got about a quarter mile west of the interstate. Then it turned to 55, and about 2/3 of the east-west traffic that goes on that stretch of County Road 20 west of I-29 turns into Riley's Acres at either 45th Street or their new approach about a quarter mile east or west of 45th Street. So the request was to shift that speed zone further west of that new access to Riley's Acres, and it's something that we had actually been looking into, and based on traffic and the turning movements for all that traffic that's heading west and then having to slow down or stop to make the left turn to go into Riley's Acres, we did shift that speed limit zone, so it's now instead of turning 55 east of 45th Street, that it doesn't turn 55 until just on the west side of Riley's Acres.
Thank you.
I have a comment, I guess, on that situation too. As Keith Munson. Driving around the county, and then I compare it to the Minnesota side, warnings, signs that say a junction is ahead coming up, I think are way too close to the actual intersections. I think a stop ahead sign should be larger and maybe flashing itself that there's a stop sign up ahead to get their attention. I know driving around the county in a semi truck, which I do often, if I didn't know the intersections coming up and you're driving 55 miles an hour down the road with a semi, and then it says junction, county road such and such, you're almost on it. I think warning signs could, and information signs about intersections could be set further back from the actual intersections with larger signs.
All right, yeah, appreciate the comment. So, you know, the signing that we do have, you know, the distances based on the speed limit is all based on the national standards that we use from the manual on the MUTCD. I'm trying to remember the actual term for the acronym, but it's the Traffic Control Device Manual that the Federal Highway and the state of North Dakota uses. Blaine, I don't know if you have any comments. You're out there replacing these signs and working with our sign crew on that.
Yeah, the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, I guess, is what we base off of our placement of these signs and the size and the standards. Obviously, there's certain standards for each of these signs, and in some instances and cases, we do go above and beyond what the actual Uniform Traffic Control Device Manual says, and you know, making some of these stop signs larger. We do have, you know, I think we're pretty proactive as far as these intersections that we do have, doing the things that we're doing with the rumble stops and the stop ahead signs, and trying. And I do recognize what you're saying, Keith, as far as sometimes there's so many destination signs and different things that kind of can get in the way of your main travel signs that are supposed to alert you. So we try to do a little bit better on that. I know we are going to move those cemetery signs, the national cemetery signs. I know we've had some comments that those were maybe possibly blocking a little bit of your sight distance of the stop sign. And I did look into that, and you could still see over a quarter mile without having any issues. And it's so different in a truck compared to a car, compared to a pickup. There's so many different variables of height of what you're driving in and different things, I guess, that can make it complicated.
Blaine, this is Commissioner Breitling. You might also want to review the status of the change of the speed limit signs, both up and down in other locations at this time.
Okay, yeah. So with the approval of changing the roadways that we did decide to change to 65 mile an hour, we obviously had to wait to order the signs till we got approval from the commission to do that. So once we got approval, we ordered the signs, and that took a little while to get, but we were able to receive them within a couple weeks time frame. So my sign department has been busy changing out all these signs. The biggest thing, I guess, is coming into some of these, our speed limits have been 55 miles an hour. So when you change it to 65, there's guidelines there too, where you can't have more than a 20 mile an hour speed reduction in a zone without having another speed zone. So in some of these places where we come from, going into a city like, take example, Chaffee and Lynchburg and Alice, the speed limit was 55 to 40 and then to 25. Well, now we're going from 65 to 45 to 25. So if you do see some of those and you're wondering why those changes occurred, it's just to reduce the amount of speed zones that lead up into a city like that. Currently, we've finished all of the roads south of I-94 now to 65, including we started off on County Road 10 and worked our way from Wheatland going into to Mapleton, so that got accomplished first. Then we went and did County Road 15 from I-94 down to Kindred. We've also completed County Road 6 from State 18 out to County Road 38. We finished County Road 38 from I-94 down to State 46. That was all last week. Today we started on County Road 4 and we accomplished that. I just got the message from Alex, our sign installer, that he finished County Road 4 today, and tomorrow they'll be heading up to County Road 26, and I would guess after tomorrow around this time, or by the end of the day tomorrow, we'll have all of our roads that we were planning on changing over accomplished. So it's they've been busy pounding posts, and it's not just as easy as just changing some signs. There's definitely a lot more signs that need to go up when you intersect another county road system. We tried to establish the speed zones again, coming off of some of the major road intersections, and like I said, lots of different moving parts with the different signs and stuff. So, but we should be done by tomorrow.
Thank you, Blaine. Are there any questions of Blaine? Hearing none, I would ask Jason to give us an update on old business, the Davenport Shop and the Brewer Lake Road.
All right, thanks, Commissioner. I'll actually have Blaine give a quick update on the Davenport Shop. We did meet with Gene and the contractor there, so Blaine.
Yep. So like Jason alluded to, we did meet with the contractor that was the lowest quote for the project, and we're kind of at a crossroads right now with the weather, with the fall that we're having here. Right now we're just working through the city of Davenport with permitting and different things with that nature, just trying to get everything kind of in line with that. And we're kind of going to readdress it here in the next week to 2 weeks to see if the weather stays decent. We might go forward with digging the footings and pouring the footings for the structure, and then we could possibly start erecting the structure maybe the end of the year, first part of January, and then we'd hold off until spring probably to pour the concrete for the shop floor and for the apron. So we're discussing and coming up with different options as far as how we want to move forward with the project, I guess, just depending on what Mother Nature has in store for us, I guess.
Any questions of Blaine? Hearing none, Jason, can you have touch on old business and Brewer Lake Road?
All right, thank you, Commissioner. So in July, we talked about the Brewer Lake Road and in Erie Township. We have gone out and done some research. There's not a lot of available funding. The one potential is through the Federal Aid Transportation Alternative Grant application. Of course, that's also what local communities use for bike paths and those types of things. So this would be a lower rated project. So just wanted to, highlight a few things. And I think first and foremost, if we were going to do something, it would be the option of, do we do the construction as the county and then leave it as a township road, or would we take it over as a new segment of county road? And it's something that we can do in phases. We could go out and widen the gravel road a little bit, do some drainage improvements along in the ditches, and then put the cement treated subgrade in so that we don't have the spring frost boils and the soft road when we get rain events that make it challenging for people bringing boats and campers in. And then when we do that, we could build it to where it's wide enough and that it's set up and graded properly so that in the future we could come and add asphalt on top of that. And because the road isn't a major agricultural road, there isn't, up in Erie, there isn't an elevator or any other large grain handling facility. So it's not a road that gets hit by a lot of semi-traffic. It would be a road mainly used for campers, cars and pickups. So we could get by with a little bit thinner asphalt section on that. So it wouldn't be as costly of a project compared to a normal county road where we would put a much, thicker asphalt section to handle truck traffic. But this is something that I think we need to continue to talk about if it's a priority, and we could continue to next year bring cost estimates and options to choose from, and then look at either 2022 if that's something to put in the budget, and again something that we could maybe add on to other projects to bring down the cost of any work done here.
Are there any other old business that you want to review with us, Jason?
No, that's it for this meeting, Commissioner.
Commissioner Breitling?
Yes.
Bill Hale here. Jason, is there any plan to firm up the actual road in the park itself? I've had instances where I wanted, in the spring especially, where I wanted to have a look at the dam from the lake side, and I couldn't drive a four-wheel drive pickup in there. The gravel road was so soft in the park.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Hale. So that is one thing that we'll also put in our options and cost estimate is it's about a 15 to 20 foot wide road that goes through there. So that's something that we could also do the cement treated subgrade and gravel, and also have it set up for a future asphalt pavement if that's something we wanted to do in the future. But at least doing that subgrade, cement treated subgrade would substantially improve the road and the ability to to be able to get in there without having the big frost boils and other issues in the spring.
So if I may, this slide, if you would have a different color or just extend your red line into the park, it would be something that should be done, I think.
Okay. Thanks for that comment.
Does anyone else have anything for this meeting? Any questions or comments? If not, I want to thank you all for having participated, and we have another meeting coming up at 3:30, so we're going to have to close this one at this time. Thank you again.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.